From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big evening of evenings, LALATE, as your forced stimulus check takes a fascinating turn today. Wow. Forced stimulus check is that monthly stimulus check that starts in the month of July and go all the way to December, unless you're a House progressive and wants to continue it 1 year thereafter. But today, a major economic data was released this morning, which I've been detailing throughout the day. And now Elizabeth Warren is speaking out, the president's speaking out, Democrats are speaking out, conservatives are speaking out. And the twists and turns are all signaling whether forced stimulus is going to get to the finish line now or even faster than before. I have all the details about that monthly stimulus check under the forced stimulus package. Then I'll cut over to the money that's been ordered to be returned to you. Incredible, great news. I'll have an update about the student loan debt forgiveness, the other money from third stimulus that's landing this week and next week, and what's going on with this stimulus in light of this economic developing detail. It's an unfolding story that's far from over, and it's going to be debated next week, but boy, it is really fascinating. Perhaps the most fascinating development about the forced stimulus check since the negotiation started. I have all the details in this big night of Evenings LA. I'm here, you're here, let's get to it. This is a major broadcast of breaking news tonight on Evenings LA. It's Friday evening. You made it to the weekend. Congratulations. It's Friday, and I do not have a pop song ready for you, but at least I'm here. How are you? It's Friday night, and everything's all right, and including your fourth stimulus check. I have the fourth stimulus check update in this recording, fifth stimulus check, and the big money for third stimulus, including money being ordered returned to you ASAP. I have all that incredible, great news in this recording, but I also have the surprising developments about what's still unfolding even tonight about that blockbuster of data that came out this morning. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. This is LA, the only 24 hours a day, 7 days a week financial news channel across the board. Developing details hit, I have them for you before anyone else, so please subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, we're just on the cusp. 1 year for this channel, a YouTube record. Also like this video, 3,000 likes. And if you're not become a member, consider becoming a member. The link's at the top of the chat and in the pinned comment. All right, let's get to the breaking details. For stimulus, let's first go over the amount, how it works, when it works, how you get it. And then we'll go over what happened this morning, this afternoon, and then just minutes ago. And Elizabeth Warren's into the discussion about this as well. And she is a savvy economic mind on the subject. Okay, so forced stimulus is the forced stimulus package. It is the single biggest payout you're ever going to see in the history of this channel. Forced stimulus check of 2021 has a differing approach to it, whether you're a House Democrat or a Senate Democrat. The House Democrats want to give you more checks, but smaller amounts over a longer period of time, which has been the topic of discussion in the live chats today on the channel. So the House members would propose a stimulus check for the remainder of the pandemic plus 1 year. So let's say there's 4 more months, then that would be 16 checks. While it looks good to start, here is why viewers are reacting negatively to that and more positively to the Senate plan. The House members only want to give you $1,000 after the first month of $2,000, and the senators, while their amount monthly is unknown, word on the street, it's nearly double that. So a lot more money faster. $2,000 a month over 6 months, $12,000, or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. The reaction viewers are having in light of today's developing news, which I'm going over a second, is the problem with the House proposal is it's sort of like a little drizzle of money very slowly over time, where the problem is you need to get caught up on your bills right now. Those bills are sitting there. There are people knocking on your doors. It's time to get caught up on the bills. You need a big surge of money right now to bring us all up to date, and then we're good to go. So give us a lot more money faster. Stop drizzling us a little money over the time, which almost looks like it's just to pay interest on a prior debt. There you are. So who gets this? You do. Third stimulus, people get it as well. So adult dependents, yes. Minor dependents, yes. Same amount as everyone else. Social Security, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans, yes. Single individual, less than 75,000, yes. Married couple, 150,000 or less, double it. And then household of 4 or less, quadruple it. Very easy. When? July. For July. It's a July check for July, an August check for August, and there we go. Very easy to understand. Is it income? No. Is it taxable? No. And what about child support and all those things? We don't know those details yet. So that's the forced stimulus check. That is your forced stimulus check update. And going in today, we anticipated a lot of surprises. Now, over the last month, if you've been with this channel, I've been laser focused on data, and I've been laser focused on today. I told you today was going to be the most critical day for the fourth stimulus check and the fifth stimulus package, literally every single recording for 30 days. And 100% out of the ballpark, I hit this out of the ballpark. It was 100% one of the most critical days for fourth stimulus, but not for the reason where the number landed. I thought the number was going to land there, and that's why it was going to be so important. Instead, the number landed all the way over there, and it was actually more important. I was worried the number was going to be too high, and by being too high, that Democrats would get cold feet and say, we're recovered as an economy. We don't need stimulus. No, it went the antithesis. It was so low, the number, that people were shocked. What happened today? The new jobs number came out. What is this number? It's a monthly number. What is the report? The month before. And what exactly is the number reflective of? How many people took jobs the month before? Not how many jobs were actually available in the economy, but how many jobs people took. So, for example, let's say you're Papa John's, who appeared on broadcast news last night, said we have 30,000, store employee jobs, store manager jobs available, and we can't get them filled. Okay, so using that data, the number would be 0. It would not be 30,000. It would not be 30,000 jobs created. It'd actually be 0 because no one's taking them. So that's what the number came in at. 200,000 people took jobs last month. The entire month. I mean, it's just not a day. It's the entire month. And Wall Street is expecting 1 million. And some Wall Street analysts are expecting 2 million. 200,000? So the problem was there were jobs and people were not taking jobs. In fact, how many jobs were there per person? Some analysts put it at 1 to 1, 2 to 1, 3 to 1. There's a lot more jobs than people, and they're not taking the jobs. So before I get into the analysis of why they're not getting the jobs, the point is that there were jobs and they were not taking them. And immediately, then the twist turned. Developing tonight, for the first time ever you're hearing on Evenings LA, breaking news minutes ago, is that we're now hearing from the president, moderate Democrats, progressive Democrats, nonpartisan organizations, and also analysts as to why this number signals a problem. Ironically, every single person has a different opinion about it. Here's what you need to know, is that the President of the United States says this is a reason to pass forced stimulus. Done. I'm going to keep my mouth shut. There's nothing else to say in the rest of the recording. I mean, I'll just turn off the microphone. There's nothing else to say. If he wants to say that's a reason to pass forced stimulus, then just do it. Send out our stimulus checks. We're done. I'll just turn off the sound and I'll be back in 25 minutes. I mean, that's basically how we should react to the situation. As to fifth stimulus, he says the same thing. This is why you got to pass fifth stimulus. This is the reason why you got to pass fifth stimulus. Okay, we'll zip our mouth closed and we'll wait for that SSI reform to hit, which is covered later in this recording. But I'm not going to do that because you need to know what these people are saying. You need to understand that what they say actually makes no sense, even though it actually gives you your stimulus checks. So let's first go over what the president said. The president said that basically the low number of people not taking jobs was a series of factors. One, that we need to give more money to babies. What? Okay. 2, that we need to create jobs. There's no jobs existing. Okay. Yeah, not true. And number 3, that if we give more money to babies, we solve the problem. Oh, okay. All right. Thank you for that, Mr. President. Now, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce came into the subject, and they said the problem is FPUC. They said the problem is FPUC. The disappointing numbers report makes clear that paying people not to work is dampening what should be a strong jobs market. That the FPUC, the $300 on top of UR and PUA, should be going away. That was then. And then the states. Boy, I had given you one state over the last, I think, 48 hours that said, in advance of this number, I see a problem. I mean, tonight, the governor of Montana may be sort of strutting his walk down the street like a cow, saying, I told you so, because 2 days ago he said, I'm stopping FPUC. People in my state are not going back to work because of FPUC. Well, tonight, other states are saying now the same. In the case of South Carolina, its governor, Henry McMaster, said, yeah, same as Montana. The problem is we have jobs, people are not taking them. The labor shortage is being created in large part by the supplemental unemployment payments that the federal government provides to claimants on top of their state unemployment benefits. He says the problem is FPUC. What was intended to be a short-term financial assistance for the vulnerable and displaced during the height of the pandemic has turned into a dangerous federal entitlement. What is an entitlement? It means that people just get checks over time and just don't do anything. Does it sound like something? Yeah, it sounds like Richard Neal paying $4,000 a year to babies over 17 years. Federal entitlement. Just, you're born, here's $4,000 for the next 17 years. It's a federal entitlement. So that was those statements. And then Montana's governor, Greg Giannotti, had already announced there was a problem. He says, I'm ending FPUC. Then the analysts came in. These are Wall Street analysts. And they said, that the problem here is that there are jobs and people are not taking them. And that ultimately we can disagree as to why they're not taking them. But there's a clear problem. There are jobs and they're not taking them. Now let's hear about the Republicans. Republican Nancy Mace, Republican out of South Carolina, says, turns out, this is what she said, turns out paying millions of Americans to stay home leads to millions of Americans staying home. A little bit blunt there. We have got to get people back to work and off of unemployment. And then there was spinning. The White House administration said, oh, the number's pretty good. That's not good. Labor Secretary Marty Walsh, who's a former mayor of Boston, says, the numbers are pretty good. Then came in Elizabeth Warren. I'll have her statement in just a second. But here what you need to know at where we are in this video is that forced stimulus has its inherent push. The inherent push is coming from the president. We need to get it done. Elizabeth Warren in just a second is going to say, we got to get forced stimulus done. That's good. The analysis behind their statement is all incorrect. But who cares? If you're going to the bank cashing that $2,000 a month check and the people who sent it to you for an inherently wrong economic reason, are you going to care? No way. You're just going to cash the check. So here's what you need to know. That ultimately this was good, actually great news for you. It was great for three reasons. Number one, it signaled that forced stimulus has to get done right away. Number two, it got a pep rally from the leader of the forced stimulus package, the President of the United States, saying we got to get it done. Number three, it got a pep rally from Democrats who are behind the reconciliation process. Both progressives and Democrats all came out to say, this is the reason you got to pass the forced stimulus. They didn't use the reverse. Ultimately, no one cares what a Republican says because they're not doing reconciliation. They're not involved with the reconciliation process. And that finally, it actually put this subject matter, stimulus, fourth stimulus, fifth stimulus, for the first time in maybe about a week, back to front page news. If you've been with me since 2020, I've always said that when stimulus is not front page news, I worry. Not for me, but for the subject matter. Because if no one's talking about it, then things may not get done. And you know what that is. That's what we call purple power push. If people are not talking about it, then no one's pushing for it. Tonight, it's everywhere. It is absolutely everywhere. This story, not getting back to work, people not, the jobs numbers, people unable to get people to come to work. Why is this number here? Why is that number there? Where is the stimulus? Where is the forced stimulus? Why are we talking about babies? It is front page news. It is absolutely front page news. Coming up in the second half of this video, I'm going to go over the fifth stimulus and the big money coming to you in that. But first, before I continue with fourth stimulus, let me give you some great news. Money is coming back to you, yes. So states have been ordered to return money back to you exactly from the same guy I just cited to you seconds ago, Marty Walsh, out of Boston. He has now ordered, as the Department of Labor, that states return certain monies back to you. Who is it? What is it? Let me go over all the details. If you're on unemployment, and you receive from your state unemployment benefits, and then suddenly out of nowhere got a letter that said, oh, we made a mistake. We overpaid you. It's our error, my mistake, but can you please return the money to me or else? And they're like, what do you mean or else? And they said, you better return our mistake money back to us or else. And you did. Well, guess what Marty Walsh said? The states have been ordered to return that money to you. So incredible, great news. Also, big, incredible, great news tonight, just happening just minutes ago, I told you, that's why I got to stay with me 24/7, is that a new report came out that said there's about 7 million plus Americans who are single filers in phase one who are getting the refund check from IRS for the taxes they paid on their $10,200 of unemployment benefits. Wow, this is great news. So IRS has never told us how many people are getting checks. This is from a third-party report, and everyone's really excited about this. Let me explain it. There are two groups that are getting checks. First, the people who file a single tax return. They're in phase one. You're going first, this week, next week. IRS has not made clear exactly where in the month it is of May, but they have indicated this group goes first. The second group is phase two. That's the married couples, joint filers. So who's getting this money? This is people who filed a 2020 tax return, paid taxes on their first $10,000 or $200 of unemployment, and now that taxes are being returned to them. Here's an example. $9,000 of unemployment in 2020. You paid taxes, your total tax bill was $5,000, but the tax part of that tax bill that was for unemployment was $1,000. They're returning that $1,000 to you. Great news. Now, who is not getting a tax refund automatically and needs to do something? It's this person. A person who had unemployment in 2020, took out for federal taxes, but has not filed the 2020 return. File that 2020 return. More about who needs to file that 2020 return in a second, but let me cut back to this fourth stimulus shocking development details today. I told you there's a lot. I don't want to overwhelm you because it's just literally everyone has an opinion about it, and the opinions are very important. So here comes Elizabeth Warren. Yep, here comes SSI Warren, student loan debt forgiveness Warren, MSC Warren, and now fourth and fifth stimulus Warren. She had an opinion tonight. Who was also once considered as for Treasury Secretary job. She said tonight the reason why the jobs number was bad, here's a new one, that people are not going back to work because they got babies. What? It's, what? What, Senator Warren? They're not going back to work because they have babies. Okay. Yeah. So I guess they didn't have babies before the pandemic and were working, and now they're not going back to work because they do have babies, or maybe they had babies during the pandemic. I don't. It's just all very confusing. I'm gonna leave it for Sir Lloyd. Yeah. Again, it's an excuse why people are not getting back to work. I really don't want to debate why people are getting back to work. I wanted to say people are not getting back to work. The jobs are available there, and that ultimately that's a problem. And we don't know how to fix the problem yet. But for now, it's a help. It's a booster shot to get stimulus checks out the door. It is a push that works to get stimulus checks out the door. And then finally, our last twist to the why today's numbers. This one is economic data, and it's just breaking minutes ago. And even when I look at it, I'm like, wow, that's fascinating. The last one is the reason the number was the way it was is because businesses have failed since the month before. Oh boy. Okay, so now you know that data because I've been detailing that over the last 2-3 months. I have a graphic, which I'm not going to really jump to right now, that shows how many businesses are being closed down in the month of February this year, March, and April. They are businesses that survived the entire horrible pandemic, and now they've gotten almost to the finish line, and they're like, we can't do it anymore. We're done. I mean, we've tried to struggle, and we can't do it. And guess what? It said Elizabeth Panicotti, senior analyst at the Senate Budget Committee, tweeted tonight that the recent layoffs is at 2.4 million. It's suggesting the layoffs are still happening and the labor demand is still as strong as the anecdote suggests. Mark Zandi, chief economist at Moody Analytics, who I cite all the time, says this is a pretty shocking report, but it doesn't really dent my optimism at all. I would not be surprised if you put a lot of weight on this number. So what analysts are now saying is that a lot of businesses are closing, and that's why people are being laid off. It's not that they don't want to come back to work, is that they were at work. They were at work 60 days ago, and now they've lost a job just recently. Okay, that is a brand new permutation that no one saw happening. Really fascinating news. Everyone has an opinion about it. But guess what? I got details for you for fifth stimulus coming up after the commercial break. I'll be back in 60 seconds. There's money for rent, utilities, food, mortgage assistance, and also free internet. Reach out to the volunteers on the community page if you haven't gotten it or haven't found it yourself on your own. I'll be back in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And in the month of February, look at this number. In the month of February, 22% of U.S. small businesses and medium-sized businesses closed down. In October, it was 14%, and in the month of May, it was 23%. That's May last year. So you see how we still have enormous shuttering of business across the board. It signals there's a real big problem, and that last report may be really on point, that perhaps why the number was so bad is that people had jobs 2 months ago, a month ago, and have now been laid off because the businesses aren't getting money. And guess why the businesses aren't getting money? Yeah, the president hasn't given them. The third stimulus package had literally no money for businesses. The $5,000 EIDL grant has not gone live. There's no indication it will go live. The PP grant is now out of money. The shuttered venue grant is very limiting. It's not for everyone. And the restaurant grant is just for restaurants and certain types of food establishments. So with that, it may be really clear. With that, I don't want you to miss a single recording across the board. Make sure you subscribe. I'm back in 2 hours with you after this with Sirloin and Javita Light. Yes, they're back tonight. I'm sure Sirloin has an opinion about all this. And circle back one more time. Human that teal. Also like this video. 2,000-3,000 likes. It really helps in the algorithm rankings. And consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Casino VIP. Boy, let's cut to the big development details about fifth stimulus. So fifth stimulus also got a push from the president today because of that number. Now, here's the two parts of the story. First, I'll tell you the push, and then I'll tell you his statement, and then I'll give you my analysis. First, he said, this is reason you pass the fifth stimulus right away. We need this fifth stimulus passed right away. The American Family Plan is why we need to get it out the door and become law because of today's number. Okay, so this is another zipper situation. Zip our mouth closed, keep it closed, and like, okay, all right, I don't agree with what he said, but send out our darn money. Fifth stimulus sends out a lot of money to us. And while we don't agree with what he just said, we can keep our mouth shut so long as you send out the money. Now, let me go over why that sentence he said makes no sense. It makes no sense because, ironically, as the Republican said early in the comment, there are a lot of things that could cause what you call entitlements. People who just want to stay home and collect checks, and they're in the fifth stimulus package. Among them, if you have a stalker, you can get 12 months of paid leave. I'm not making this up. So if someone's stalking you, your employer would have to pay you 12 weeks of paid leave. Excuse me? Okay. Then, it just goes on and on and on. Oh, the children. He said the reason why the number was so bad today is because the children have no money. Children don't work. So I don't know who hasn't told him that. The guy from Yale hasn't told him that. So children don't work. Well, here's what the problem is that Representative Richard Neal, who's head of the Ways and Means Committee, a House member, says the real problem is that we need to give children $4,000 over 17 years, which is $84,000, and then everything will be fine after that. No, some people will look at today's number and say that would actually make today's number worse because they're going to collect the 84,000, never stay home, and never go out, never leave the home. I mean, they'll just stay home and trade Bitcoin because they got $84,000 sitting now in the bank account. So it is really quite interesting. But again, this is a zipper moment because if the president wants to use this as a pep cheer to get fifth stimulus out the door, we're going to keep our mouth shut because ultimately we love fifth stimulus because of that SSI and SSI reform. Not ironically coming from the president, but again from the Democrats. And they're adding it on there. What is it? It'll first increase your benefit limits, increase your asset limits, add an inflationary benchmark. Then it would remove the income cap, remove the income cap, and then remove the marriage penalty. And I got it somewhere. There it is. So let me explain how this works and who gets it and what gets it and why today's economic data impacts it. First, they would raise your benefits up to a new number. That's you, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans, seniors, Social Security, and survivor benefits. Then, second, they would tie your benefits to inflation. So as inflation goes up, your benefits will go up. Inflation is expected to go up 2 to 4% over the next few years. And as it goes up, your benefits go up. Number three, they would remove the asset cap, dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't keep more than $3,000 on hand for some of you. It's important to do that, especially if there's multiple stimulus checks of $12,000 over 6 months laying in your bank account. Number four, remove the income cap. Right on point for today's news. So if you want to work, you can't under a 1962 law, which they're going to invalidate, that says you can't work and also stay on benefits. So if you do want to work, you can $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month, and they're going to cite a new number. And finally, they want to remove the marriage penalty. So when would this happen? September. 2-month process, 2 bills, 2 steps, done around November, you would have the benefits impact your account. So why was the president's statements today good for this? It was good because he said, pass it. Well, he looks up in the sky and sees bad climate. There's bad climate. Pass the fifth stimulus right away. I mean, we'll keep our mouth shut if that gets our fifth stimulus out the door. Now, here's some of the other things that you need to know, is that ultimately there are some stuff in the fifth stimulus that is really at blame of the president, in my personal opinion, as to why today's number came in where it came in. Fifth stimulus, if you're looking at it, I mean, just imagine you have a stalker and you go to your potential person who's wanting to hire you and they want to offer you, like $25 an hour or $35 an hour. Yeah, it's a great salary, but the president of the fifth stimulus wants to give me 12 weeks if I have a stalker. Are you going to give that to me paid sick leave? Are you kidding me? I'm not doing that for you. And then when you go to the earned income tax credit under the fifth stimulus package, if you remember, you have the details delivered every day. The president wants to give you $1,504 a year if you're 19 years or older and make less than $25,000. Is that cheap or what? Let's go over the data. You worked at a supermarket. You didn't feel safe. Supermarket didn't provide you hazard pay, didn't make it feel clean. President's not giving you hazard pay. And now he comes out with the fifth stimulus package proposal and says, yeah, get back to work and I'll give you $1,500 as a tax credit. No, I'm not. I'm I'm not going to risk my life for $1,500 of a tax credit. It's not even a check; it's a tax credit. Give me $10,000 of a tax credit as essential worker. Then maybe I'll go work in that supermarket. There you go. Sort of these how the economics of the situation line up. It's a little bit too complicated for us to analyze in just 30 minutes. And this is going to be far longer discussion. And you're seeing tonight on Evenings LA why corporate America, Republican-led states, Elizabeth Warren, progressives, moderate Democrats, corporations, Wall Street, and analysts all have different opinions as to why it happened. But everyone agrees singularly. It's a problem. Jobs are there. People did not take jobs. And now the president wants to use that as a push to get fourth and fifth out the door. Great news for us. But ultimately, the other items in fourth and fifth that don't concern your stimulus check, that don't concern SSI and SSDI reform, that are really not the core of this channel, are sort of the outside issues, like the children's check. It's $84,000 over 17 years, which I cover, but you may not be tuning in to watch that. Those are now calling big question marks next to them. Why are they in there? Viewers universally have ironically agreed upon this opinion in the last 8 hours. If you gave me enough massive stimulus checks in a very short period of time between July and December, I could get caught up on my bills. I would have no more debt. Everything that I got behind on bills because of the pandemic, I would be caught up. I would feel like it's back to 2019 or very close to it on my bills. I wouldn't have people knocking on my door to collect things. I would be caught up, and I would be close to being made whole. Stop drizzling me with little things here and little things there and little things there, and give all of us that are below a threshold of income that money, and stop piling on money for children and piling on money for other people. Take into consideration for seniors, take into consideration adult dependents, take into consideration everyone, and stop micromanaging things for little babies. And that has been generally the opinion of viewers. And ironically, it's exactly what economists also agree. So with that, thank you for tuning in to Evenings LA. I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning on Early Mornings LA at 4 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is 7 o'clock on the East Coast. 2 overnight show before that, and then Mornings LA at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. But before all that, get ready for circle back one more time, because LA Late Night is coming back in about less than 2 hours from now. Stay informed, stay focused, keep on smiling. Thank you for a beautiful day and a beautiful week. I look forward to seeing you. And I'm in the live chat. I forgot to say that, but you probably saw me. It's that person not wearing teal. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA.